Because you are a fast girl, right? You are, I would say, elite.
I'm like sitting in just your average like space where I like to run, and if I'm fast on that day, then yes, I've made it. But like if not, then it's okay too.
But 440 is not a thing for you. That's like, that's like your walking pace.
No, not here in Joburg. Here in Joburg, I can't even seem to hit those speeds right now because I can't breathe with the altitude. So right now we're just cruising and hoping to pick up the pace when I get to Cape Town again.
You'll adjust. You'll adjust. That was actually like one of the questions that Kim raised. She wanted to know what differences you're finding between running here in Joburg and running in Cape Town.
Jeez. I'm going to try and provide the PC version to that because Joburg has made me feel so unfit. Oh, wow. Like, I thought like being from Joburg, my body would still know it's like roots, but no. It's been really hard to breathe. Like, I think I just start running and I'm like, I'm done. I'm like, I want to quit. Like, where's the air in my lungs? The heat as well. I don't think I've ever experienced heat like this. Cape Town literally has protected me from all forms of like harsh elements. And Joburg is like, here, I'm going to put you in the Hunger Games. It's really been it's been a bit of a challenge. I almost wanted to say I don't think Cape Townians know what training hard is until you come to Joburg, and then you really see what you're up against. Because yeah, Josie is tough.
And the hills, right?
Oh, the hills. Yeah, there's no flat ground. Where's the flats in Joburg? Please, I'm used to the promenade where it's smooth and it's beautiful, but Josie's just throwing in hill after hill. My elevation profile is just going to be skyrocketing.
So if you are close to Rosebank, I think Rosebank is relatively flat.
Yes.
Um, Sandton as well, I think is relatively flat. But I think every suburb in Joburg, your profile will not be flat. You will not get promenade running,
I
essentially in
know.
Joburg.
I know that's for sure. But I'm like, it's okay because I'm just gonna get stronger. I'm like, I'm taking the Jersey Eco back to Cape Town. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna be
Yes,
flying the flats and
you
the
are
hills.
going to be stronger. Give yourself a month and you'll be hitting 440 on those Josie Hills.
Yes, it's gonna be a very proud moment, and I will be smiling and celebrating when that happens again.
And in terms of safety, how do you tackle that? Because it's been a growing concern lately that runners running alone are not safe. They're getting mugged,
Hmm. Yeah, that
especially as a
I think
woman.
maybe yeah, as women, I think that's been the difference. I think coming from Cape Town to Joburg. So I think in Cape Town, I'm used to just like getting out of the house and just running on the promenade free, and of course never the trail. So I've never done trails alone. But when it comes to road running, like I've always just been able to get out like and run on my own. Coming to Joburg now, I think I have had to be a little bit more wise and cautious, and so I do still do quite a bit of running on my own. But yeah, I generally carry pepper spray and all of those sort of stuff, and kind of hope that I'm just like in a vicinity where there is a lot of people, there is a lot of cars, and I'm very aware. And luckily, when I do run, there are quite a few runners. So I
Mhm.
think when it comes to that, I think you've just really got to have your wits about you. Unfortunately, yeah, I think when it comes to sort of like crime and violence, and it's everywhere. And so you really just have to do be mindful. And yeah, and if you can run in groups, then run in groups. I think that is the safest.
On the notion of cars, so I used to come to Cape Town almost weekly before this whole COVID thing because of work. And running in Cape Town is such a contrast because I'd run from the hotel to the promenade and then run all the way until that shell by Greenpoint, Sea Point, and then run back to the hotel. And that would give me like 5 kilometers. But there'd be like no cars, I'd be on the pavement, and there'd be people running around me. Contrasting to Joburg, sometimes I'm alone and sometimes it feels like I am fighting with the cars because some drivers will not move for you. You will move for the driver.
Yeah, that is very true. I think that is something I've like also come to like, see. I mean, I've always known it being from Joburg and when I used to run, that is the case. But it is quite funny. Joburg is the wild, wild west, eh? So I don't expect anything less. But there are paths here, I think it depends on where you're running. Like there are some paths and like you just have to be, as long as you're running towards the traffic, I think that's how you keep yourself safe.
And what if it rains? What happens if it rains?
You carry on running. Okay, but hold on. Joburg, like rainstorms are completely different. Like they scare me. Cape Town, you get out. You're like, if it's raining, yes, it's an adventure. And then you go out in the rain and you're like, yes, this is beautiful. I love running in the rain. Joburg, on the other hand, is just like, oh, flip, there's thunderstorms, there's lightning. Like, how close is the lightning? I've never even had to like consider lightning or thunder in like the last 8 years. So yeah, I think when it comes to like rain in Joburg, I'm gonna have to be a little bit more cautious. But I'd still run in the rain. Like I think it's incredible to run in the rain.
I absolutely enjoy running in the rain. So I've had the experience of running with like multiple running crews, groups. So my home team, Brandby Runners, if
Yes.
it rains, we are still running. The only time we're not running is if there's lightning, and that's literally if the lightning is next to us. Then we're not running. But if it's raining hard with no lightning, we're still going. And then I contrasted with another running group where if there's like 2 drops of water, they're like, we're not running, we're not gonna run in the rain. So I have always enjoyed running in the rain. And I feel like it's refreshing, It feels like, I don't know, all the sweat is being washed away from you, your problems are being washed away from you. It's one of those experiences that you really need to be involved in. Running in the rain is really nice. You need to try it if you haven't
Yeah.
tried it.
If you haven't, I agree completely. It is. There's something refreshing about it. I used to be that person that was like, no, if it's raining, nah, I'm not gonna do it. But I think the rain doesn't last forever. And like in Joburg, I think you need the rain on you just to cool you down for a bit, and then you like carry on just so you're refreshed. So yeah, I always do. I recommend be safe, of course, be wise, but yeah, there's nothing wrong. You're not gonna melt if the water gets on you.
I always say your boy, wait, you are waterproof, your skin is waterproof, you are not gonna die. It's just water.
Exactly. Exactly.
So for Women's Month, I had these sessions with I think 10 or 12 women from across the world, and we discussed basically issues that are affecting women in sports. And I was asking them which ones they felt need to be highlighted. So from your side, you have quite an experience in trail running. What do you think are like some of the biggest factors that affect women in those sports?
Sure. I think, so when it comes to that kind of question, more so, I think the fact is that women have to be a little bit more cautious when it comes to running, being on the roads or being on the trails. Guys I feel like, can just go out on their own and just like run free, because they're not afraid. But I think when it comes to women, and some women aren't afraid either, but I think we are more at risk and vulnerable to danger.
Mm,
So yeah, I think it is that way. We have to think twice, like who we're going to run with. We need to find people,
mm,
those kind of things. Whereas like when it comes to guys, they can kind of be like, oh, I'm going out on the mountain, I'm going to be out, like, and they are at
mm.
risk, but they're more, I think, yeah, they're not as fearful as a female would be. So I think
Because
safety
when
wise is probably the biggest challenge that females face.
Yeah, and I had this conversation. One of the points that was coming, it's like was like when you're a woman, you always have to wait for a man to run with you so that you can feel safe. And in that way, it's sort of like your exercise schedule is dependent on that person. It's almost like you're impeding on their life.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And like I know for myself, like I've always run with a group of guys, and I've always had to ensure that there's a group of guys with me and like what's the time and organize these things. I could never just go out on my own. I could never just phone a girlfriend and be like, hey, let's just go running on the trails. Because
Mm,
yeah, we with the guy. And so in that case, like, yeah, your life is a bit like how do I say, it's not so free. And you
Mm.
have to be very mindful of that. And you do have to run with guys as females, I think.
So we're having this session, and these sessions are actually, like I thought of this during lockdown because, during lockdown we had extra time to just think about what we want to do with our lives and all of that. So these sessions came out. Um, this is one of, like, I could say, a benefit of COVID-19. But how has the coronavirus affected you personally?
Sure. Well, I think when it comes to like, I think COVID and all of that, like life had to stop for everyone. So for myself, like life had to stop. Of course, training didn't have to stop because I kind of made the decision that yes, this is not convenient, but I'm going to choose to make the best of it, and I'm going to take this time to like reflect on myself and think about everything that I want to do, even if I can't do it this year. That's okay. Let's work with what we have. And so I think for myself, I chose to look at it from a positive point of view. I was fortunate enough to have an indoor trainer and ride my bicycle and get very acquainted with my bike and do strength training. And it wasn't easy, but I think every day I woke up and I was like, well, this is the sort of the cards that have been dealt. And yeah, I'm either going to walk out of here a completely changed person for the better, or I'm going to walk out of here a negative Nancy. And like, definitely didn't want to be a negative Nancy, no matter what came my way. And so, yeah,
Mm.
whatever challenges did come, I was like, let's face it head on and let's just make the best of it. Because, yeah, no season lasts forever. Even if COVID still feels like it's lasting, it's not forever. And so, yeah, I think I've dealt with it in a very positive way. And so, yeah.
I can sense a very positive spirit. I can feel it. Um, Kim has mentioned that your father is quite legendary. Do you draw inspiration from him?
Yeah, I think my dad and I have a very special daddy-daughter bond. As we used to, say I call us the daddy duo, like the daddy-daughter duo team. My dad has literally, he's the reason I started, like I said, running. From him doing comrades. He was the one who introduced me to trail running. I like my first ever trail run, which was like a 50-kilometer trail run after seeing him do it. And of course, the old man, I always call him old shame, he's not old. But he's been my number one support on every single race that I have ever done. So he's often sacrificed his race and said, it's okay, Cleo, I'm going to support you. And yeah, so I'd say he's definitely a legend because he's always been someone that I can count on. He's always supported my crazy ideas to be like, hey, Dad, I'm going to do 100Ks. And he's like, okay, just make sure you check everything out. But he's always been there. And so, yeah, it's been incredible to do races with him. And yeah, just been able to train with your dad. I think that's a very special, yeah, it's a very special thing to be able to do. And I count that a blessing.
That is very special. So I started doing races and I'd get race tickets and then I'd like give them to my mother and she started doing races with me. She'd always ask me, when is the Total Sports coming? When is the FNB coming? Because those are the very nice races here in Johannesburg. You get to run in Joburg CBD, which is like a place you normally wouldn't run in. So I do share that sentiment, but she's not like a comrades finisher or anything. She's still on the 10 kilometers, and I want to actually introduce her to swimming, so that's still like a fight. That still needs still a battle that still needs to be won. But yeah, when it does actually happen, it will be on the gram.
Oh, most definitely. That's like me trying to get my dad to swim in the ocean. I'm like, Dad, it's just water. Oh, no, no, no. He buys it, he'll buy a wetsuit and everything. He's like, yeah, we're doing it. And then he's like, no, we're not doing it. But that's incredible though that your mom is like, is running and being active. I always say it doesn't matter if you only do 10Ks. Not everyone's an ultra distance runner. But the fact that
Yeah.
like you're being out there and you're running and like your mom's running, I'm like, that's awesome.
On the swimming in the ocean tip, I think it was on the Speedo page. I saw one of the athletes swam from Cape Town to Robben Island. That's like a 7.5 kilometer swim. I was really amazed.
Yeah,
I was
that is
like,
brave,
wow.
eh?
Because wow. And the water is cold. Like Cape Town ocean water is freezing. It's
It's an understatement. It's
cold.
cold. It
It's
is cold. Even for
cold.
yeah, I think so. Like you need gloves, you need a freaking like cap, you need booties, you
Oh,
need everything to be in the water. But then
oh,
again, there's some people who just do it with like just their swimming costumes and no wetsuits. And I'm like, that's incredible, like mental body conditioning, all of it. Like to be able to do that, like that impresses me.
mm, mm. So, Cleo, if I'm watching this right now and I'm listening to your story and I feel like, you know what? I actually want to start running. What message can you share with somebody like that? How do you start running?
First things first, you just start running. You buy yourself some running shoes and you make the decision to just like get out your front door and basically run, even if it's just 100 meters. And you walk for 100 meters and then you run 100 meters. My story always started, like I said, I started with 2Ks. And that wasn't just 2Ks running, that was walk, run until I became completely comfortable. So for those who want to start running, for those who, yeah, who are like inspired and they want to get fit, I'm like, just get out there and do it. Don't worry that like someone next to you is doing 10Ks or 100. The
Mm,
fact that you're just out there, that's like you've won half the battle already. And now you just need to be consistent. And when it comes to running, consistency is key. So
it's
for the
very
first
important.
yeah, and if the first month you just run 100 meters every single day, then flip, you run 100 meters every single day until you feel comfortable and stronger to push it to 200 meters. So
Mm,
yeah, that would be my advice to someone who wants to start running. Like get out there and do it. Start slowly, but just do it.
because running is that one sport where you're literally running against yourself. It's not about other people, it's about you and improving your time
Yes.
and becoming fitter.
Exactly. And just being able to like, enjoy moving and being active. I always say, so there's so many people out there who want to do it and some can't due to medical reasons or injuries or, whatever. And if you can do it, like run for them and literally count it a blessing that you can actually move. So yeah, never take movement for granted. No matter what it is. It doesn't have to just be running, but like movement in general.
That point you made is actually so valid. I constantly need to remind myself after like during when I'm having a horrible run, I need to remember about all those people who really want to run or are injured because there was a time when I had a stress fracture and I couldn't run or actually walk without a moon boot. And I think about that time and I'm like, I'm not as fast as I used to be, but at least I'm still moving. I'm still sweating. I can still feel the burn in my lungs. It's worth something.
Most definitely. Yeah, I think when you get injured as a runner, you learn to value running a whole lot more and you like promise yourself
Uh-huh.
that even if you're struggling, you'll keep running because you know what it's like to not run. And yeah, I think every single day, like you need to just get out there and do what you can, even if it's for 10 minutes. Just do it because you
Mm.
can do it. Because you don't want to get to that point where you feel where you know what it's like to not be able to do it.
Mm. And my last question for you tonight is what's the next step? What are your next steps? What's next for Cleo?
True. What's next? Well, yay! I get to do my first race on the 1st of November in Joburg. so
What race is that?
So it's going to be one of the Nissan trails because I've never heard of it, but my boyfriend like showed me today that it's open, and it's a trail run in Cullen, I think. I've never been, so I'm about to find out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there's different races, so I'll be doing the 21. So yay for that. And then and we'll focus on next year's goals, which will hopefully be Oceans 56, and then the big comrades, and then hopefully doing my first 100 miler.
Washi,
No, Carcliff.
100 miler on trail.
Yes.
Over how many hours?
That we have not figured out yet. But there's I don't know actually. That's a good question. How many hours? We'll just go and see what happens on that day. But yeah, hopefully not. not
Okay,
forever.
no. Let me rephrase that. What is the cutoff time?
For car clip, that's a good question. I've actually never checked what the cutoff time is for that, but I know it's probably more than 24 hours. You'll have more than 24 hours to finish.
Wow, that is really, really amazing. 100 miles. Wow. Wow. I think that's like from here to like Pretoria or and coming back.
But everywhere in Joburg feels like 100 miles every day when you get in your car.
Oh yes, you definitely need a car in Joburg. It's not Cape Town.
No, it's not. So yeah, so that will be the plan for next year, 2021. Of course, yeah, it's a plan. Hopefully it gets executed. But yeah, until then, we're just going to be training and like, yeah, getting fit.
And to somebody watching this and actually wanting to track your progress against all of these goals that you've set, where can they follow you? What social media platforms are you on?
So I'm only really on Instagram and of course Strava. So yeah, I think my progress will be on there. I like to only really just like showcase it like the pre and then the post.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm just one to like keep enjoying the journey and like see what happens along the way.
Okay, and one more question. What role has Instagram played in your running?
Oh, what roles? That's a good question, actually, because I've never actually thought about it. But I think Instagram, it's an incredible platform that just allows you. I almost look at Instagram like my own personal album. If I'm honest with you, like it's like my diary, my active diary. But it's given me a voice. It's allowed me to share, to be real, to be relevant. Of course, that's my choice to be real, raw, and relevant when it comes to my active life. And so I think it's been a really great platform to allow me to just share my thoughts, my experiences, and hopefully encourage other people to enjoy being active, to realize that being active is super fun, and it doesn't just have to be running. Like I say, we're all different, but yeah, my main hope is that it's allowed me to inspire and to motivate people to keep being active.
And to anybody who's watching this, please visit Cleo's profile. She takes the best pictures. She shares pictures from the trails. She smiles a lot, and she really shares her journey and what she's feeling on that day, which is actually why I wanted to have her on this platform because I was like, this girl makes running look so nice, and she makes these trails look inviting.
Of
So
course,
yeah,
because
thank
they
you for
are.
that.
A pleasure. They are. It's totally incredible. And I always say to people, they do go, you're always smiling. And I'm like, because honestly, in that moment when those pictures are taken, I am the happiest person alive because I'm in my element. I'm in nature. And yeah, I mean, what more could you ask for?
Just like one of your latest posts where you're running on the road, like you made it seem so effortless.
I think it was because I was nearing the end and I was like, yes, this drought is almost over because Joburg was so dry that day. Joburg was dry.
And you were making it fashion. I was actually looking at I think it was a bra tank top that you were wearing. And I was like, this is really, 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 really cool.
Yeah, apparently, Joburgers don't like to just run in like a crop top and shorts. It's a Cape Town thing, apparently. I'm not
Yes,
sure.
it's a Cape Town thing. It's a Cape Town thing.
Well, I'm going to introduce the new way of running to the
It's a
Jobies. And
promenade
Kim
thing.
can join me on that because she loves to run in the crop top and the shorts. So her and I
You
will
and
rescue
Kim,
each other.
you and Kim, and sometimes Zonke are the only people I've seen running crop tops and shorts. I swear it's a promenade thing.
It's a Cape Town thing. That must be here. I'm like, how else do you run? Like, is there any other way to run?
With many, many layers.
Oh gosh, no. Oh no. I would not have made that marathon. In fact, I probably would have quit like 10 Ks in if I had any more layers. In fact, what I was running in was way too many layers that day.
I can imagine it was so hot. And I'm actually happy that it's like summer now because I can run in short shorts and like I have packed my tights away. So the sun is out, I can run in short shorts and I'm very happy about that.
You see, it's a win-win.
Yep. Cleo, thank you so much for joining me tonight. It was a really insightful conversation about running, road running, moving from Joburg to Cape Town, back to Joburg. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this conversation. And
As well.
thank you so much for joining me on episode 14 of that Indie Talk podcast. We're back.
Yeah. Thank you, and thank you for having me. It was really, really great. I enjoyed it.